All right, members and friends, we're back at the camp here. I'm looking for my glasses. This small Paul is showing us. Put your light on there, Paul.
Hold on, I gotta finish putting it on. But that's half part of it, right?
What's that?
The pumpkin is part of my
Oh, we got spirit out here, people.
So there's a pumpkin right there, and there's Buddy getting his costume ready. And here's Mama Lynn, everyone's favorite comedian.
Yeah, right, comedian, haha.
Well, hey, because it's a fucking comedy show.
Okay.
There's a random hottie.
That's actually my daughter. She's homeless too, people.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
a random hottie.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Back to daughter. Oh, hello.
Love
What
it.
are you wearing there?
And we got another tent.
Is that Carrie?
Okay, here.
Side
Okay, so there's another home, and then you can't even see. But there's my tent is over here. My tent is over here. See, there's a tent there. And somebody in it. That's my girl there, Sandra. Say hello.
Oh, there is. Oh, I
There's a
see.
little tent thing.
Okay.
And there's a
This is all right.
umbrella up here.
Yeah.
Big, huge umbrella.
This is okay.
You can't even really see it, but hey.
No,
Anyways,
that's okay. We're here at night,
and
right?
there's more passage through.
Yeah.
Because this is like a popular area. There's actually a city path that goes right here where girl Janice was murdered in the tree right there. I think they should have memorial benches put up for her, because I forget her last name, and I don't want
Sure.
anyone to, Janice Shore. I don't think anyone should forget, what happened to her or the significance of this area. And then there's
Tent over
another
there.
tent over there.
Here.
You can
See
her,
about night vision. Just hold on. Okay.
So I am
Hold
gonna
on. All right.
take
Small
a
walk.
hiatus. See you later,
Okay.
friends and neighbors.
All right. Thank you too. I'm trying to make this go into night mode here, people. I can't do this. Is that night mode? Did it change? I think it changed. Okay, so we're gonna go up by the front room now. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know if anyone wants to do an interview with me. Hold on a minute.
Tap, tap, tap.
Okay,
Is
tap,
it on?
tap, tap. It's on now.
When I came
Freddie asked me
late to the
for an
concept
opinion.
of, I have to do something with the rest
I'm gonna
of my
state
life.
my
When I was
opinion
4, I said to my dad,
on the subject
"When
of
I grow up,
homelessness.
I want to
Okay.
be a hobo." No shit, no word of a lie.
Poor people are aliens on this planet. They're rich when they get to heaven. And in my Father's house are many mansions.
Okay.
Amen.
Amen. And there's Jason playing a tune now. What kind of guitar is that? What is that?
The mother and
Guitar.
What is it?
It's a guitar.
Oh, that's not a guitar.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's some kind of guitar.
It's shaped. It has 6 strings.
It has 6 strings.
Oh, yeah?
Guitar.
It's,
Oh, wow.
A mandolin has 4, a banjo.
That's
has
a
5.
mandolin?
No, it's a guitar. It's a unique
backpacker
shape.
guitar.
It's uniquely
It only has
shaped
15
guitar.
frets where they usually have 21.
They
or
do, there's a name for it. It's called a traveler. It's for a
backpacker.
homeless person. That's called a hobo. That's a traveler's guitar.
That's a
Because
traveler's
it's too
guitar,
big.
eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Backpacker guitar. It says so right in there. Yeah.
Right.
Made by Martin, who makes the best.
Oh, and the Martin, they left out another A's. Made by the Martians. They travel light.
Sounds like it's a little out of tune, though.
At light speed. They got here a long time ago. Look at their planet. Now these people say United States. I say the excited snakes. Yeah, the NASA space program.
Seems to be a lot of activity going on. There's like cars everywhere. Like everywhere. Everywhere. And the world is just going
Blow
by.
something up!
The world just goes on by, people. Are you noticing that? Everybody's just going on about their business, right? Hey? This is my daughter, Sierra. My daughter's homeless too. Yes. So now you know why I fight. Now you know why I fight as hard as I do, because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. She's falling through the cracks. I gotta fight for her. I gotta fight for my
That was
grandson.
so
I gotta
funny.
fight for myself.
That was
I gotta
inside
fight for
joke,
people
eh?
too,
Falling
right?
through the cracks.
It's
do you
over
mean?
one now. It
Am I
was
falling through
over.
the cracks?
Won't fall into the cracks. This is falling through
Everyone
the
has
cracks.
to.
Be a slave.
Yeah.
I know what you think. You're very
These are delicious.
self-independent,
I want to go make. I want to
free
get.
spirit.
This is my friend.
This is
This
very-
is, I
want
put
for
this
nothing
in.
that I
I
have
make
not
this
got.
into some oatmeal, and there's your what do you call them? Them
If I
fig
did,
Newtons.
okay,
Who's
people.
editing? Oh, thank
Tonight's
you. And your
it's
name?
not raining. I'm Mummelin. Mummelin,
You
Judy
certainly
Lynn.
are.
Yeah.
Enchanté, mademoiselle.
Nice to meet you. And your name?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter. A lot of these doesn't matters out here.
Happy New Year.
Oh, you're
Well,
slobbering
Happy
on my
New
hand,
Year,
sir.
everybody.
My dear,
That's
Happy
your
New
beer.
Year.
I've been sipping beer.
You've been sipping beer, have you?
I guess
On your
it's my
wouldn't
beer.
get into your beer. Now let me just wipe it on my
Happy New
pants. Okay, it's all good. All right.
okay,
I'm
thank
turning
you.
this off now.
When I hear that whistle
Hear
blowing,
that whistle blowing. On down to
San
Well, baby, my mama told me so. I always be a good boy. Don't mama let me catch you messing with guns. But I shot that man in Reno. Hang on.
I'm getting cold, people. And I've only been outside for like a half an hour
I
here.
shot a man in Wally. Which one you gotta go for beers?
Now I hear that lonesome whistle. I hang my head and cry.
You don't know.
Well, I bet there's rich folks eating, riding in their fancy dining car. I know they're sipping on their hot coffee and the puffing of the Cuban cigars, but Lord, I know I had it coming. I know I'll never get to be me. But that train keeps on moving, and
That's what tortures me. That's half of it.
where they freed me from this prison. And if all my dope debts was clear, well, you'd like I'd move all of it about a minute, miles away from here, far from.
You need a beer to relax.
All right, people. Okay, members and friends, I'm in my local shelter's washroom. I have to admit, this is the first time I've been in this washroom. But, as you can see, there's blood on the floor. And there's some very, very sick people in here, people. Very sick people. People with wheelchairs and walkers. And I was told that there's a lot of flesh-eating disease. Like, honest to God, I don't know what my government is thinking. Okay, members and friends, I have a little time here because my little grandson went and had a little sleepover. Here, let me turn this thing around, make sure I'm talking to the camera and you can see me. Yeah, okay. Oh, so I do it to myself, people. I go to these little grocery stores, local grocery stores, vegetable stores, produce stores. I guess that's what they're called, produce. And oftentimes the owners are Punjabi, right? And, you know, as they recycle their food, they bag up things or they'll sell it by box or whatever, right? And it's really economical, right? Thing is, you have to process it like pretty much ASAP as fast as you can because, you know, it's to date, right? So it's, you know, it's produce. It's going to spoil fast if it's been sitting in a cooler for a while. But I made this little cold room outside, right? So I've been kind of putting some stuff in there just to see how it carries itself over the winter, right? In terms of a cold room. So, you know, some things, you know, came out of the store like as soon as it was delivered. Cabbage, for example. I bought some cabbage up at Save On Foods when they were having a sale. And I don't know if it's the way I'm storing it or because it was fresh cabbage. But I'm finding the outside leaves are being affected, in my opinion, a little too fast sitting up in a cold room, right? Versus being in a fridge. So maybe the cold room's not fast enough, or I'm thinking it's the way I'm storing it. Maybe I have to make a gunny sack or something with some burlap or something. But that's not what I want to talk about. Outside of, I got a big box of discounted tomatoes at 49 cents a pound, and I've already cooked up like 2 extra bags. And I've been doing these peppers that I got, and I got like this big box with like, there's probably 8 pounds to 7 pounds per bag, so that's what, 15 and 15, that's 30 pounds of tomatoes. That it's 11 o'clock and I have to get in there and start pureeing and cooking because I'm going to just make some more ketchup and be done with it, right? Because I've already done another batch, plus I did the first 6. First I did the spicy ketchup, 6 jars or whatever it was, and then I did ketchup, which is like 11 jars, and then I've got some tomatoes that I started just stewing up so it could be like a tomato sauce really in the fridge already in a pot. Plus I've got the 4 bags that I'm going to pull in after this video, and I'm just going to put my mind on that, right? And but in the meantime, I've got videos that are on this camera that are going to, you know, go onto the computer, and then I'm going to have to somehow try and figure out a way to merge them all together so it all makes sense, right? Because, you know, there's a couple of different things going on at one time here, right? And, you know, I'm trying to, you know, I'm just trying to make the viewer, get the bigger picture, you know, so that we can not lose faith, right? That, you know, better things are to come, right? I guess you can say, right? But I've got issues still with my kids, you know, they're always, and like, I keep telling the ones that are old enough, if, you know, just don't talk to me like that, you want to be rude to me, whatever, you know, and you blah and blah, and you want to be the victim, and, you know, you want to cry, you know, me a river, and it's all my fault, and I'm sorry I wasn't there for you fast enough, and, you know, it's like, just fucking move on already. Because I want to be happy. I don't want to be around miserable people, you know, in my house. It's enough that I have to deal with miserable things all the time, right? You know, shitty bathrooms and just, you know. Anyway, so I went back to the camp last night because my grandson wasn't with me to touch base. One of the fellas there, Jason, I guess he's going to put the website at the bottom of the posters because they're trying to put posters up to educate, to inform, right? Apparently they were in the newspaper, one of these local ones that they hand out on the SkyTrain as people are, right? I don't know where it's going to go. I know that after I left there and then I went to the front room, I was with my daughter, my oldest daughter, because she's homeless, you know? And I told her last night, you know, I love you, and, you know, I don't want you out here, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, you know? And being that she brings me out there, and like I was a homeless youth, so I know what it feels like to be homeless and not really have any place to go, right? Well, not really. There was no place to go. When you're homeless, there's no place to go, all right? And if there is, they're very few and far in between. So lots of people just fall through the cracks. So anyway, we went off to the front room, and we went inside. I don't know, people. I don't know how to express this to you. I can't go inside with the camera and sit there and videotape it. You have to take my word for it. Not even within 10 minutes, 5 minutes of being in the environment. you know, my radar, my instinctive radar, you know, my intuity. I'm very tired today, and I'm going to be freaking freaking tomatoes till 4 nights ago. I was canning tomatoes at 4:30 in the morning. Once you start cooking these things and doing whatever, you have to cook it all day long just to get it down to the consistency of a ketchup type sauce, right? And by the time I did that, the last time I did these 11 jars, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm filling up the canner after cooking, you know, tomatoes all day long. So I don't know, I'm kind of scared to start these tomatoes at 11:30 in the morning, right? Because I don't want to be canning freaking tomatoes at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, in my pressure canner, right? Before I go to sleep. But besides the point, what I'm trying to say is, those people, like within 5 to 10 minutes of being in the environment, I sat down, they are very sick. There's a lot of sick people at the front room. You can feel it. You can see it. If you can't see it, you can feel it. Okay? It's obvious. I counted like 3 different types of wheelchair walking devices. 2 wheelchairs, one with, you know, they have on both hands or something. So that's 3, right? But definitely 2 wheelchair that I noticed. And you can see they're sick. So many of those people in there are sick. So I sat there with my daughter for a little bit, and she mentioned to me, because I mentioned to her, you know, these people are sick. Like, these people are sick. Like, why doesn't anybody notice that? And if they do notice it, why is nobody saying anything? And the only thing that, I'm sorry people, but the only thing that I could think of that came as a comparison as to why those people are there under those conditions, which is about the size of my freaking living space, okay, 40 feet by 35. It's a very small little environment. Maybe they have 80, half of what I got, more, which is still very small for hundreds of people, 20 to 30 at a time, going in and out all day long, using one washroom and one shower, okay, with sickness in the environment. And it's obvious, you can see it. Apparently, the one person in the wheelchair, as I was sitting there, I went to the washroom. I got a video of that, people. I just went in, I mean, I can't sit in the shelter and go like this to prove to you that lots of these, I'm not saying everybody's sick, but the majority, we're dealing with sick people, okay, for whatever reason, because sickness can come in many ways. I'm sick with this ringing in my ears, and my eyes are going off the roof while my eye doctor's telling me, well, you know, that's a different video. I'm going to save that video, because I'm going to show you how the healthcare system works within this sickness, and it keeps us sick, and we get sicker. So when I get to the local homeless shelter at 1 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock at night or whatever it was, because it was last night, and I plant myself down in the middle of the people, and within 5 minutes it's confirmed that these people are sick, the majority of them are sick, and nobody's doing anything about it. And then you think about, well, where's the healthcare system? And immediately my mind just flips over to my dad's wife. Seriously, a government worker that was on pension for 25 years of her life. We know, if you go back into my videos, she got the best of the best. In and out of the hospital, non-stop. And in the end, she ended up in a care facility being looked after for a year. Well, these people, I don't know what they get. I'm trying to put myself in the position of the workers that have to work with the people. I try to put myself in the position of the people themselves, okay? I try to put myself in the position of my daughter, right, which connects me even more to it all, because, you know, we're talking about my daughter. I love my daughter, right? I told her, I don't love these people, but I love you. And because I love you, I'm not just going to leave you there. So of course I'm going to participate And because I have a nonprofit, I'm going to bring a nonprofit. Isn't that what the community garden was about? Right? When I was out there, when we were planting the community garden, was it the best garden in freaking all of Surrey? Well, obviously not. But, you know, the point was, I was there. I helped instigate that. Well, this is the same kind of thing. Because I told my other daughters, I have a lot of daughters, right? I told my other daughters, well, one daughter, I haven't told my youngest yet, but I said, I think this is what I want to do. Because I do work on a nonprofit. I'm going to get back to these people at the bathroom because this is the point. Okay, we gotta fill in the gaps. I'm coming in with I'm talking to you right now. I got my wipeout boards right here, but you know I got a lot of shit going on, so I don't have the space to put it up and start merging it in. I have to piece it in, but we'll talk about that later. So what was I talking about? This is where I just can't worry about what I can't do for you right now. I can't bring out the wipeout boards to show you black and white how it all fits in together there. That's the thing. It's the gap. Okay? If you notice, I'm jumping and I'm jumping from different conversations here, and it's like a gap. You got a gap. Well, how does that connect with this over here, and how does this over here connect with that over there? And then you've got this, and then you got one coming in from the bottom and one from the top, right? So you got all this shit bouncing around. So that's what creates the gaps. So how do we fill in these gaps? How do we fill in the gaps where you've got, 50 people, right, in a 80-foot by 70-foot environment that's being minimally maintained in terms of health care? Because we're dealing with sick people. Okay? Not everybody is sick in that environment, but the majority are. All right? Some worse than others. But it's a gap that's not being filled. And because it's a gap, right? You got something here and you got something here. Okay? So how do we fill this gap? So we've got this issue over here with 50 people up to 1,000 going through this, environment within a month with minimal services in terms of health care. Because what happens is when these people go to the hospital, they go to the hospital, which is this over here, we'll just say, for example, right? There's the big gap. Do you see it? I'm trying to explain this to you, right? So, and this one fella was in his wheelchair, and apparently he had already lost his legs, and so he had no legs, and it didn't look like there was anyone in there to help him. But when I went to the washroom, did my little thing, came back out, sat my ass back down, the worker from behind the desk came up. I don't know how she noticed it, because they have cameras. I'm thinking they must watch for this stuff, because I never noticed it. And out of the blue, she shows up and she's asking him if he peed on the floor, and if he did, he needs to leave. And I'm watching this, and she was an Asian of descent, right? She had an accent, so maybe she's an immigrant. I don't know. One of those I don't know what you call those workers that they're not nurses, but they're a little more trained, right? But even still, I'm sitting there, I'm watching her. She's saying, well, if you peed, you need to leave. And he's saying something else, and she's saying, well, and then the subject of alcohol came in, and it was cold last night, people. Okay, it was very cold last night, and she's saying, well, if it's alcohol that you dribbled on the pulled into a pool of something, then you're banned for 7 days. And I'm like, okay, I'm watching this, right? And I'm like, okay, well, here you got this Asian woman that can speak English fairly well, threatening to evict a homeless person that's in a wheelchair with no legs, right? Obviously hasn't had a bath for a while, people, because he needs help, right? Arguing about a pool of something, whether it was alcohol or urine, on the floor. Eventually he left. I don't think he got banned for 7 days. But all I could ask myself is, well, if you banned him, like how dare you ban him? Where is he supposed to go? It's cold outside. I mean, obviously he's sick, right? Now, he did have on the back of his wheelchair or whatever, a bag of beer. So maybe because my daughter, she piped in, right? Well, maybe a beer cracked open. It just opened on its own and spilled out. But personally, I think it was urine. I think it was urine, and nobody helped him. And I'm thinking, okay, well, put yourself in the worker's shoes, right? Put yourself in the worker's shoes. These are the rules that is given to you by your government, or Fraser Health, or whoever makes the guidelines. It sure to hell isn't WorkSafe BC. I can tell you that right now. Okay? And they tell you, da-da-da-da-da, kick him out. Let the cops deal with him. Let the local food chain restaurant deal with him. Right? Because, that's the gap. That's, we got, my kids at risk, working at an environment that people that get paid to supervise the homeless and the sick are kicking out into the streets. So we just got a little closer to that. So where do they go? They go where they think they can go. Because they need to go. It's not that they want to. People need to use the washroom. Bottom line, right? But what happens is you get too many coming in with not enough filling in the cleaning in between the people. So I'm now standing in the line to go to the washroom. There's 3 people standing in this one standing in line to go into this one washroom. So when it comes to my turn, I go in the washroom and I just pull out the camera and I fucking, what do I see? I see blood. I mean, that's a given. Blood is all over fucking Surrey. Everywhere, man. Like, seriously. It's a big smear in between all those gaps. So, how do I make you, the viewers, more than one, in various countries, more than one, get that collective, well, we care. We care. Because that's, I talk to cops sometimes, right? And this, kind of stands out in my, because I try and look at it from a cop point of view. I'm walking like a cop, right? And I'm like, okay, so here you go again. Your government says, here you go, sir, this is your job. These are the guidelines. We don't care what the ramifications are behind them. You just follow the protocol. That's what you get paid for as a government employee. Even though a lot of their funding well, actually that's not true. Only 15%. 15% of their funding comes from the federal government, where the other rest of it, I guess, comes from the city, which at this point, from my understanding, in Abbotsford, is 50% of the local taxes in relation to City Hall budget. That's what pays the cops. That's why, like, right now, when you listen to them with their debate, because we have a mayoral debate out here, they're all talking about bringing in more cops, and, this Doug McCullum is budgeted in 142 more cops, and and then of course the opposition wants to know how they're going to pay for it, and blah blah blah, right? So but like, how do these cops feel? Here you got Ralph, he's in a wheelchair, hospital already released him, they don't understand, and there's flesh-eating disease out there, people, right? Because we're dealing with sick people. So he's got no legs. He obviously doesn't have assistants to help him go to the bathroom or have a shower and stuff like that, right? And the cops are like stressed out because I'm a cop now, so I'm walking like a cop. I'm walking the beat, and I'm walking with my protocol, right? I got to be a good cop, so I got to follow the rules, right? So, and I get a little relief because I know Ralph is inside, and I don't have to worry about Ralph right now because I'm too busy dealing with Tom over here, right? And then all of a sudden, Ralph is out on the streets rolling around at, freaking 15 below weather or 5 below weather. It wasn't that cold last night. It was probably 55 maybe, going into the 50s, which is still cold enough for somebody with a strong immune system, never mind sick people, right? So now I'm a cop, and and this guy's got nowhere to go, and he's starting to freeze. What am I going to do? Well, this is where they say cops become the social workers, right, for the government. But I think this is a provincial matter. Yes, it is a city problem. Every city has the problem, but this is a provincial matter. And in terms of federal, well, obviously, if somehow the RCMP is a federal entity, then I would put I would put the majority of the funding should come from the federal government. 51%. Like shareholders. If the RCMP is a federal entity, then the federal government should fully support them on a higher percentage than the city. That's my opinion. And that's, I think, if there's any truth to them being federal, but then just branched out. I haven't really done my research. I just know that they're RCMP, right? They're the cops, you know, they're the police. Then, you know, I know they have their independent forces and stuff and little branches and stuff, but at the end of the day, they're a federal entity. And they should be, you know, paid as such. And that would alleviate some of the stress. And maybe we could build in some better programs for the people that they're forced to follow protocol on. Because, you know, if you want to keep your job, well, then you have to follow the rules, right? But as a cop, you think Ralph is okay because he's in his local shelter, even though the man is sick, and you're not an idiot, and you know that this guy's sick, but your hands are tied, right? There's only so much you can do as a cop. And you're over here now dealing with Tom, who's sick, right? And has his issues, and all of a sudden Ralph comes rolling up in his wheelchair, pissed off now because he's been banned from, you know, the local homeless shelter for 7 days for quite possibly urinating on the floor only because there was no one there to help him because he couldn't get to the bathroom on his own. Maybe he has one of those urine bags and it hasn't been changed in a week. Like, we don't know. When was the last time he had a shower? Is anyone helping him with that in between everybody using the one shower? Right? Well, my dad's wife is nagging in my ear, cackling. I don't really give a shit. Because I'm comfy cozy where her bed was laid because of a government pension, basically. And there's the gap. There's another gap. Because when you listen to the BC Legislative Assembly in their debates, and they start talking about elderly care and how there's not enough facilities for them, or good ones, right? With, you know, reasonable work standards for the, you know, safety, like rules and that kind of stuff, right? Like that woman standing there saying leave. You know, she's just standing there. Well, you have to leave. You have to leave. You know, doesn't matter now whether it was booze or whether it was urine. It doesn't matter. You still have to leave now because it's on the floor. Yeah, it's on the floor now. And I'm like, okay, so you're gonna come clean it up. Hopefully at some point. But yet, don't forget, people, there's blood all over the fucking floor in the bathroom because I got video to prove that. Nobody's going in there cleaning up that bathroom. And it's accumulating. Oh, I'm sure they do clean the bathroom, but are they cleaning every 15 minutes? This is why we need on-site people. Because if there are people injecting drugs in the bathroom at the local homeless shelter or at the local food chain, and there's a number of them, it's not just one, okay? Or in your local alley, right? Or behind a convenience store or something, somewhere. And this blood is just being left behind, because that's what happens. Don't be in denial. See it for what it is. It's being tracked around town. Because if it's being tracked around in the environment, whether it's in a local food chain restaurant, washroom, or whether it's in a local shelter somewhere down the line, or whether it's in the fucking alley or behind the local convenience store, once you start walking on it, you're tracking it around town. And people don't care. And that's that cop thing again, you know? Talk to a cop, you know, he's got a dirty job, right? But, you know, he knows what goes on out there. He's not stupid. And he's right. How do you get people to care? How do you get people to care about that guy that deserves to be in a care facility? Just as much as my dad's wife deserved to be in a care facility. And he doesn't need maybe as much as what she got in the last year of her life, because she had me for the last 4 before she finally went into the care facility. This guy, all he's got is 55 below weather, sitting on the street with his little backpack of beer and his cut off legs in a wheelchair, waiting for the cops to roll up with their protocol. While our local washrooms are being used as for multiple things. And nobody's going in between cleaning up effectively after the fact. So everybody's got to take responsibility for that. Right? But people don't like to take responsibility because it's easy to not care. Now I'm just trying to get people to think about, how do we start getting people to care? Do we care about ourselves walking around town with all this fucking blood everywhere? If that makes it easier for you to start caring, right? Oh, what am I walking on today? Where did it come from? Who's the culprit? Where's the culprit? Let's find some way to point some fingers around here. But when you're walking around, think about it. Because this shit is being spread around town. Because nobody cares. This local shelter needs an upgrade. And that has to be the responsibility of all levels of government, local, provincial, and federal. And they have to do it in such a way that we, the people, can see that they actually care. Because if they don't fucking care, if blood is being spread around town, with workers standing there saying, move on, a lot of moving on. But who are we moving on? Right? And where's it going to really get us? We'll move along. I love my daughter. She helps me to remain focused. Okay? Because if my daughter wasn't struggling, and I told her this, if you weren't struggling with the addictions that you've had over the period of years, I myself personally don't think I would have been that involved with street people who are homeless. Although, right? I've been homeless as a youth. So I know what it's like. But the thing is, I never got exposed to drugs until I was 25. I never knew what cocaine looked like until I was 25. Honest to God. I told this to my daughter last night. And that was only because somebody else was doing it. And I had to wait for them to finish before we could leave. So that was like, I witnessed it. I was a witness to it. And when I was young, the stuff that goes out on the streets today was nothing compared to what it is today. It's out of control because nobody cares, basically. And the few that do, we get drowned out, like me, with politics, right? Because I did the garden. You know, I tried to put in some proposals back in 2003 in front of Doug McCullum. What if he becomes mayor again? And I muster up the energy to actually maybe just adjust the time and date on my proposal and submit the same proposal. Is he going to remember that thing was in front of City Council 11 years ago, and is he going to deny it again? Because he denied it the first time. But it didn't stop me from caring all these years, and if the love of my daughter helped me to just stay focused, which I am trying to do right now, to fill the gaps How is it that you can go to one environment and you've got sick people being looked after, and you go into another environment and you see sick people purposely being subject to infections, to disease, to illness, to violence? How is it that we can have that in our society and say that we're functioning and that we're caring people? Who do we care about? When the blood, in the end, is all being mixed up. Because my dad's wife wasn't exactly clean with her body fluids either. Right? So you have to be on top of it. Whether it's in your home, in a care facility, or out in the community through shelters that they themselves stand there and say, well, the protocol says, oh, kick him out. Okay, sir, you have to leave now. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, 55, 50 below, and you pissed on the floor, or maybe you spilt your booze. Who knows? We're not going to test it. We're just going to send you outside because the cops are out there waiting for you. That's how we want to close the gap? Is that how we close the gap? Is that how we close the gap? I don't know. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to just try and put this all together and get on with my canning.